Hey there, welcome to you on Instagram, you gorgeous design divas. It's so good to see you as always on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. And hello there to you, my gorgeous design divas on Facebook. It's so good to see you here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I love spending time with you. I love to coach you through design, already getting hearts and bubbles and waves and all the happy feels. I love being here with you to coach you through what you're going through in your design projects. I know design is thrilling. I know design can be overwhelming when you don't feel like you have all the pieces at your fingertips. So it's my pleasure to be called the Interior Design Advocate, and I'm also one of the leading coaches, as I've been named in the United States, as a design coach. I coach design lovers working through your own home. I also coach designers in their own businesses to create beautiful businesses that they love running, that are highly profitable, and that they just makes life feel a little better for them while they're doing it all so beautifully. So when I'm not doing all that, I actually run a luxury interior design company based here in the Philadelphia region of the United States. And we work all over the US. And today, like all Tuesdays at 4 p.m., I put a pin in everything we're doing. I come up here with one of my team and I come out here to talk to you. And we experimented this week, rather than posting a video on Instagram saying, hey, here's what we're talking about, we put in our stories a little mention of what we're talking about and said, hey, if you have a question you want to send in ahead of time, go ahead. And people sent in questions. So we've got a lot to cover. So today's topic, I know paint color selection makes even the most savvy design lover, the most talented design lover, I know it can make you loopy and frustrated and feel like you're going, buggy-eyed. Well, here's the thing to know. There are things you might be doing right now that are making your life just a smidge harder. Now, I will be happy to take your questions on paint color selection in a little bit when I'm done teaching. Feel free to put them in early, though, so you don't get passed over by the time I have to scooch out of here, because I do have a meeting to get to after this. But as long as I don't need to see a picture to answer you well, as long as you're not asking me to weigh in on a particular paint color, I will not pick paint colors or weigh in with you about particular paint colors. I will coach you through the value of a color that you might need, but I'm not going to be selecting paint color for you. I would do you a great disservice if I did that. Okie dokie. So with that bit of housekeeping out of the way, and by the way, I also want to say a big thank you again to everybody who purchased our book, What Would an Interior Designer Do? Checklist Your Way to a Great Room. It was a huge reception, and we have this great party for everybody who bought in the first week. We've got a great party happening tomorrow night online. We're going to be doing some design and talking to people, actually literally talking to people in an online meetup, and we've got prizes and stuff. So if you've signed up for that, make sure you come, because we actually had a bigger response than I thought we were going to have there. So there it is. Alrighty, so let's talk paint color. 5 design tips to help you select the right paint color. So here's the thing, guys. Tip number 1, and this relates actually to a couple of the questions I got in ahead of time. Do not pick your paint color too soon. So many design lovers want to start with that paint deck in hand. If you pick that paint color too soon, you're going to lock yourself in or block yourself into a corner, paint yourself into a corner, no pun intended, when it comes to selecting rugs and fabrics and such, because there is less choice there than the myriad of paint options. So you actually want to select that paint color first. I mean, paint color last. I said that backward. There is something about paint that you can select earlier, but the actual color, you're going to select that midway or almost toward the end of your project. I'm working on a really big new home build up in the Princeton, New Jersey area. It's about 12,000 square feet. Almost the entire residence is designed. Actually, it is pretty much fully designed. I am only now having a final paint selection meeting with my client on site. Alrighty? Now, so tip number 1 is don't pick your paint color too soon. But I used accidentally the word first, like do this first. You don't pick the paint color first, but you know what you do pick really early? Your paint concept. So here's number 2. If tip number 1 is don't pick your paint color till fairly late in the game, until your other finishes, tile, counter, all that has been selected. Number two, important, nobody talks about this. I'd love to encourage you to pick your paint concept early. What? A concept is an idea. A selection is a concrete thing you can take to the bank. You can say, hey, here it is. Here's the number. Here's what it is. You know, there's no conjecture. That's a selection. That's a selected paint color. But a concept is an idea. It's a, I think that there's going to be a pale pink wash in my daughter's new bedroom or on the walls. Or I believe there will be a navy blue accent wall in my husband's study. Or I believe I will be in some sort of gallery white wall throughout my first floor. That's a concept. And if you want to pull some very basic concept colors that you're not going to feel like you're blocked into, but it's a direction, that's fine. You can pull those early, but you don't actually pick your paint color until you have your finishes and your fabrics, ideally fabrics and rugs selected as well. What do you do if you're moving into a residence and you really want to have the whole thing painted before you move in? You can do it, but you may paint yourself literally into a corner and you may have to redo something. You may put a gallery white on the wall that once you go into your full design direction reads with too much of a gray undertone, or it's too warm an undertone, right? That's why concept gallery white is different than Sherwin-Williams, blah, 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 white, yada, yada, yada with the name, right? So concept comes very early. Actual paint selection comes really late. Think about it. What if you're going to be adding a wallpaper to the space? What if you're doing it? What if you're doing a framed accent large of a muraled wallpaper in a dining room? How can you pick the wall color for the rest of the space until you know what that muraled wallpaper is? Because you're going to want to likely pick something that somehow speaks to that wall covering. All right? So there it is. Okay, so number three. Contrast white against white. White paint is complicated. White is a complicated color. I remember being on a job site years ago. This really sweet plumber looked at me, looking at all of these whites I was considering, and he said, hey, Don, I don't envy you for having to look at all those paint colors. They all look the same to me. And I giggled and I said, come here. They're not going to look the same to you in a second. So, for example, I had this as one of the whites I was looking at, and I said, I know that looks kind of like a white, but watch, you know, like any other white, but watch what happens if I put a little stickies, because these are from actual projects. Watch what happens when you take a piece of white paper and you put it next to a paint color. Suddenly, you see how gray that undertone is in this white? Very gray, right? But when it's just out here for you, you know, is it really a grayer kind of tone? But it's when you put a piece of white paper next to it, it's like a game changer, right? So when you're picking whites, gallery whites, always take a plain old piece of printer paper. Here, plain old piece of printer paper next to your paint color, and you'll see that undertone really start to jump out. And since gallery white walls are so popular, and I know you're looking at a lot of gallery whites, that little trickaroo will really, really help you. So that's number three. Always contrast a white paint against a piece of white paper so that you can more easily see the undertone of that white paint. Next, this is going to be tough, but I'm going to rip off the Band-Aid. I have gone to meetings with, back in the old days when I would take on clients who were DIYers. They would have a gajillion different paint swatches set out on a dining room table. I'm getting hearts on this. Does this sound familiar? Like too many, like 20. Just they're all over the place. They're from Home Depot. They're from the Sherwin-Williams paint store. They're from Lowe's. They're single swatches. They're swatches on multiple color things. It's a mess, right? You know how when you go to the eye doctor, they don't give you 1,200 options or 20 options for your prescription. When they're examining your vision to see how it's changed or hasn't changed or get a baseline from you, and they start to play with your prescription, they have you look at an eye chart and they change the lens once to find something comfortable. What's better, this or this, this or this? And you say, okay, that's the better one. Great. Let me try it again. And now they keep trying to refine it. You like this one. Is this better or worse? Is this better or worse? And you're just continually comparing against your baseline. It's so much easier to do that with your paint. Once you find a color that you believe is a good contender, that's your baseline. And everything else you look at beyond that, you're going to say, okay, is this as good as or better than what I have? If it's not better, it's only as good as, you might want to toss it. And certainly if it's worse than, out it goes. If it's a maybe, out. It's got to be as good as or better. And I want you to get to the top 3 paint colors for your project. I don't want you to get 20. I don't want you to go for 5. Narrow it down to your top 3. And when you're then trying to make your final decision, and you're looking at that paint color, not down on the table, you're looking at it just up vertically, because that's the direction in which you're going to see that paint color. You always look at color in the direction in which it's going to be viewed. That's why in rug showrooms we have them, it's called dropping the rug. Take it off the wall, let's drop the rug and see what happens to that color when it goes horizontally. Well, color changes based upon how you are viewing it directionally. You don't view a paint color down, you view it upright. So as you get, so that's kind of like tip number 6 already, because I have another one I'm going to be giving you in a sec. But when it comes to selecting your top 3, you're going to keep comparing from your baseline. Is this as good as or better? If it's and to get to that 3, you're looking for something at least as good as or better. And once you get there, that's it. And then drill down from there. You don't need 20 colors to choose from as you do that drill down to the top 3. And then last but not least, you have to swatch your color. Do I have a paint deck here? Do I have a paint? I do. Sorry, crash there. This is a paint deck. How was this paint deck made? Was it painted or was it printed with ink? It was printed with ink, as opposed to painting a swatch on a wall with actual paint. Very different. The best printer in the world cannot reprint in flat paper ink what a paint color is really going to look like. Think of this as a fairly good directional cue for you on a paint color. Fairly good. But when you want to go into your basic final, you have to swatch it. Not only do I want you to swatch it on the wall, but I'm going to tell you about a great product that I love using. I don't have an affiliation with this woman, with this team, but I think they do a really good job. Write this down, Maria Killam, K-I-L-L-E-M. She has painted samples. Just pull out a couple here for you. I think you'll spend several $100s to get these. Sorry, I'm off camera here. You'll spend about several $100s to get this deck, but she has different decks to choose from, and they're divided by color, color value, like undertone, which will make it easier for you if you're DIYing at this. But these are actual painted samples. Now these happen to be neutrals. She has colors as well. So you would either pick her white deck or her neutral deck. I think she has some color decks as well. And again, sorry, I've got an eyelash in my face here. I have no affiliation here, but I just think it's a great tool because you can see these actual painted samples. And again, you know, I'll just pull some out. Hang on too. I mean, I don't want you to think that they're all neutrals. I mean, I have a couple of her sets, right? Because it just makes it faster and easier. There's no guesswork. You can see the actual painted sample. So there's no surprise when it goes up on the wall. You're like, oh, there it is. So if you are a professional designer, highly recommend this. If you're doing a home on your own and you're doing multiple paint selections for, you know, first, second, third floor, sub-level, whatever, you might want to invest. Now, if you don't, then just do your own swatching, and that's fine too. But Maria Killam, I think it's spelled K-I-L-L-E-M. I think it's double L. I think it's a great resource. So there it is, your 5 tips. I'll review them. Number 1, don't pick your paint color too soon. Number 2, pick your paint concept really soon. Number 3, to look at gallery white paints, you just flip a piece of plain printer paper next to it, and you'll automatically see that undertone. It'll jump out. Number 4, use the eye doctor method when it comes to narrowing down to your top 3. Find your baseline paint and then go up or down. Is it better or the same or better. If it's worse, you get rid of it. And then tip number 5, which wasn't counted, but I'm going to give it to you. Never view paints down horizontally. You always look at them up vertically because that's the direction in which you're going to see them. Color changes based upon the direction in which you see it. I'm getting hearts on that. And then last but not least, you must swatch, because printed decks just cannot show you undertone realistically the way a paint medium will. Okay, so whether you want to scooch up stuff on your own walls, that's great. Or if you want to shorthand the process, I do recommend Maria Killam's paint swatching things. And I think they're about $300 or so each deck, or something like that. So there it is. All right, so let's see what's going on in the world of you. I'm happy to take your questions. While you're putting in your questions, I want to let you know that next week we're going to change it up a little bit. Next week I'm going to be sharing with you my personal story on how I changed course in my life and what a trajectory change it was when I became an interior designer. It was a second career choice for me, and it was a life changer, a game changer. So I'd love to invite you to come if you are an interior designer, or if you're thinking of starting your own interior design practice. I think it will be kind of illuminating. It's very easy to look at someone like me and say, oh boy, she's got this and this and this going on. But don't compare where you are to where I am, because I'm not just starting out, right? So I'd love to invite you to join me for that next week. And even if you're not a professional designer, you might find it interesting. So there it is. And if I'm really feeling generous, maybe I'll open it up to general questions. Maybe, maybe not, though. It depends on if I've got a lot of designers asking questions. Okie dokie. So questions that were sent in on Instagram earlier today, I'm going to give a little nod to some of those. Steph Kinsey, at Steph_Kinsey. What do you think of a white house with black window trim? Classic or trendy? I love it. I say do it. Do it, do it, do it. Other classic color ideas? Well, the other classic color idea would be to do white trim and a white painted brick with black shutters. That's fabulous as well. Instagram lost sound. That's not good. So what am I supposed to do here? Can you hear me now, Insta? Try it again. I'll just keep going, Steve. You'll have to let me know what you want me to do. Look at the people's text. Oh dear. So, I don't know. Do you want me to sign out? They can't hear? Guys can't hear me? Give me comments. Can you hear? Okay, hang on. I'm waiting for Instagram to tell me if they can hear. They can't hear. So okay, how should I write it? Why don't you, I'll be right back. Hang on. I'm going to come back. I'll be right back. This is going to be backwards, but here it is. I'll be right back. Okay. Can hear. I'll be right back. Okay. So Steve, hold on. This is what makes it interesting. Be right back. Okay. And now. Okay. I'm not even going to share that. Steve, why don't you set that up for another thingy? I'm going to keep going here. All right. So next question that came in early. Oh, why don't I see what's going on in Facebook land? Okie dokie. Carol, love that you only look at things vertically. I'm glad that was helpful. Sandra's saying hi to everybody. Carol's getting choppy reception here too. Oh my gosh, people are having trouble with streaming. We fixed it. Okay. Okay. Kathy's saying, due to all undertones in everything in a room, fabrics, rugs, window treatments, and paint, do they all have to be the same, all warm or all cool, or do they have to match? Okay, Kathy, we're not looking for a match. We're looking for marriage, things that live well together. Okay, not matching. We're looking for marriage. Hold on. Just got to get this thing back on. Hold the phone. Let's see if this works. Let's see. Oh, dear. That didn't work. That didn't work. Okay, Steve, it didn't work. So I'm going to hand this back to you. Sorry, guys. Always interesting out here. Okay. Alrighty. So, boy, we're having tech issues. I wonder if it's because the weather was so bad out here. Okay. So, Carol Ebersol is saying she loves the book. Carol, I'm so happy. I loved writing it for you. I hope you're coming to the party tomorrow night. And Carol says, I can't wait for the party, party, party. Carol, dress up because you're going to be on camera if you feel like being on camera. So, definitely excited for the party tomorrow night. All right, so let's Instagram. Are we back? Can you hear us? I hope you can see us. Hope you can hear us, because I'm going to keep going. All righty. Sorry for the technical problem there before, guys. Okay, so Sandra is saying, if white is such a complicated color, why is it used so much? It's not a problem that it's complicated, Sandra. I'm just letting you know that if it's making you little bananas, you're not alone. Okay, so there we go. We have people joining. Hopefully, can you guys hear me now? Hopefully people can hear me now. All right, so it's a little crooked, but you can hear. So there it is. Okay, so more questions that were sent ahead of time on Instagram from Beverly Antone. So Donna, should I paint first or purchase my living room furniture first? All right, guys, you now know the answer based upon the fact that we have been talking about this. You do not pick your color first, Beverly. And if you've been here already, you know that you don't pick your color first. Teresa Brennan on Facebook is saying there's several kinds of white printer paper, glossy bright white. Do I have a suggestion for contrast? No, I wouldn't go into glossy. Just do a plain flat white paper. That's all you need, even a white envelope. Shelly Stanton is saying, hey, I'm so excited about the party. Good. I can't wait to see you there, Shelly. So Carol loved the tip about only looking at things vertically. Okay, here we go. We're back online on Insta. Hey, Insta girls, you look good. Okay, Patriot Boat Tours Bradshaw. There's a cute name. I like it. I should do a tour with you. It's saying, tray ceiling, where do you paint a color within it? That's such a great question. Tray ceiling, where do you paint the color within it? Okay, guys. Do you know that with a tray, everything that goes up is called the rise, and then there's the flat. There's the rise and the flat. Very often between the rise and the flat, there's some trim. So I would recommend that if you are not a professional designer, that you simply paint on the flat. There it is. So if it's going vertically, If it's a horizontal, Hopefully Patriot Boat Tours Bradshaw, that helps you. Give me a thumbs up if it did. Alrighty, so Sherry Marilla is saying next week's topic sounds fantastic. I'm so excited, Sherry. I look forward to seeing you there. And bring your questions if you're getting into a design business or you're already in one. All right, Patricia's saying, Donna, thank you for this. How do you pick your base color if you're looking at so many swatches? Is it just what you think that you like? All right, listen, Patricia, baby, we have to talk. No, it's not. You got to like it, of course. But there is a path and a process to designing a room, guys. Absolutely. Just like, you run a baseball diamond, and I'm not a sports person, but even I know that. Design projects all follow the same path. I don't care if it's a gihugical project or a little teeny weeny project, they all follow the same path. Now, maybe you skip a couple of bases because of what has to be done if it's a smaller scope. But the paint has to mean something, Patricia. And this is something this is not a cheap plug, it's just reality. This is something I absolutely teach inside an online course of mine called Decorating Genius, 7 Simple Steps to Great Rooms. It's a lesson in how to do all of this, multiple lessons, which is why I can't even take you further, Patricia. You have to get your hands on some strategy. That is a brilliant question you asked me. And based upon that question, I know what strategy you're missing. And there's a fair amount. Nothing wrong with that. So I encourage you, get some strategy under your belt. Design will get so much easier for you when you can lean into strategy and let the strategy do all the heavy lifting for you. So whether you want to study with me or with someone else, I personally think online courses are better in design than a textbook. Textbooks are so flat and one-sided and not interactive. I think you're better off with video motion that takes you through something. And we also have, in my courses, I also have a private Facebook group. So I would just love to see you get a little more strategy under your belt, because paint is it's a big topic. So there it is. Okay. Sandra is saying, okay, there's that. Okay, that was no sound. Okay, there you go. We already answered that. Kaboom, we're doing well. Jennifer McCann is saying, I'm still enjoying your book. 3 exclamation points. I'm so glad. Yay, I'm glad of that. Okay, tray ceiling, where do you paint the color? We answered that. Maria Killam on YouTube. Yes, you can find Maria Killam on YouTube, but find her website so you can go purchase those products, purchase those paint things, those paint decks. And please, if you don't like them, I'm not responsible. I'm just sharing a tool that I like. And again, as of this discussion, I've met Maria, but I have no relationship with her, no relationship with this product or that brand. I'm just telling you about a good time saver that I like. Next week, we're talking about changing careers to become an interior designer. My personal story, design is absolutely a second career for me, and I've built a kick-ass business that I love running. We win awards. I love the clients that we work with. I love the projects that we're working on. It is never too late, ever, to start doing what you love and to start doing your right work. So I hope you'll join me next week, and I'll share my story with you. All the terror and the tears as well. So, okay, it looks like we're still having a problem on our feed. Renee is saying, what are the new interior color trends for 2022? Interior trends for 2022. Interesting. I don't know if it's that the pandemic kind of slowed things down. I don't see as much changing into 2022, honestly. Gallery white walls are still hot. The brown undertone continues to take on more meat, more presence. But in terms of wall paint colors, things are still fairly light until people can't stand it anymore. And then they say, hey, I really want to wash a room in color. I'll tell you the colors we're not seeing very much of in design in total, and therefore it's affecting wall paints. Not seeing a lot of red still. Not seeing a ton of orange still. Blues are still really hot in design. Furniture manufacturers are still solidly behind blue. Certain greens are as well. Green is changing. It's continuing to get even more pine-like, not just that beautiful emerald green. Not seeing as much of that sage, soft, whispery green. But I believe that any color, I'm going to be a little radical here. I believe you can use any color in design at any time. The trend is not the color, my lovelies. The trend is how you use it. The trend is how you use it. I have a client now who I'm designing a residence for, and he said, Donna, my current home, I have a basement that is gray beyond gray. I said, I know you do. The design team and furniture store that he used, it was like gray walls with gray carpet and gray sofas, and it's gray everywhere the eye can see. That was leaning quite heavily into the gray trend when it was at its pinnacle. But here's the thing, the design greats like the Albert Hadleys of the world, you've heard me say this, they were using gray before gray was a thing. I was painting foyers a pale whispery gray if it was right for the project and the client before gray was a thing. Gray is a fantastic neutral, like white, like tan, like cream, sand, brown, black, right? These are all great neutrals. Gray is not going away. It's just how it's used. In the peak of the gray trend, everything was gray. Even the wood furniture was that acid washed gray. That was really trendy looking when there was gray everywhere the eye could see. But have I pulled gray out of interiors? No. I have stopped trying to get the words out. Sorry, I'm thinking three things at once. I have stopped appointing lots of gray cabinetry, but for the right project with the right client, they love gray. I will still give them some gray cabinetry. But the rest of the room, the rest of the residence isn't gray, so help me gray. So hopefully that helps you to feel less strained and stressed on this gray thing. Oh my goodness, last two questions. I have to get to a meeting. Okay. Is my book still available for purchase from Sandra Jackson? Yes, absolutely. You can still purchase the book. We don't have it up on our website, but we did put a mailer out to our list. I guess we are going to put it up on our website at some point. It's up on the website. Last to know. I'm the brains behind the book, but I'm the last to know. All right. Last question here from Eileen Ziegler. Years ago, I watched my sister struggle with finding a bedspread to match her newly painted wall. I knew the obvious solution then, and I tell people to pick their paint last. I am not a designer. I'm only a designer at heart. Eileen, you're a genius. You're a geniac. That's very good. You're right. You make your life a heck of a lot harder when you try to pick that paint color too soon. And the very last question from Rena Ballet, who sent this in early. How do you choose wainscoting color with wall paint, and what's the wainscoting height? Wainscoting height can either be to 36 or 42, depending upon the look you're going after. 36 is about the most popular. And how do you pick it? Pick your wall paint first, and then you back your trim out afterwards. Okay. So Steve is laughing about something. Read Instagram. I love this ladies design coaching. The one above it? Can I get back there? Thank you, First Lady Valesta. Okay, First Lady Valesta is saying, what you love is the only trend that stands the test of time, Donna Hoffman. She's quoting me. Thank you, First Lady Valesta. Hope you're coming to the party. Definitely want to meet you. All right, guys and dolls, listen, or dolls and dolls. I think we have one man in our whole tribe, but men are welcome. I will see you next week, 4 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday. We're going to be talking about what it looks and feels like to change careers and go into a career in design. Is it too late? Answer never too late. I'll be sharing with you my story. I'll be answering questions about your design business, about your hope maybe and what you're hoping to create. And if you're not a designer and you want to show up and learn a few things, come on in. And if I don't have a lot of designers on with me that day, I will open it up to some general questions because I love you. If I do have a lot of designers on that day, I'm just going to be speaking to the topic. You know how it works here. So I will see you guys next week. I've got a bolt. I've got a meeting to get to. I loved being here with you. As always, I'll see you a week from today, 4 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday. Bye, guys. Hi, this is Donna. Thanks so much for watching. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and comment below so I know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to the Interior Design Advocates channel so you don't miss any of our great content.